Okay, so here is my tutorial on how to make the best baby back ribs ever. Start out with about 6 pounds of ribs, and you need at least 2 large cooking sheets. Now what I do is I spray Pam underneath directly on the pan so it doesn't stick, and you'll thank me for that later. And then I spray a healthy amount of Pam again on each of them, and I do it really well so they don't stick. Make sure you get in the corners really well. Next, you place the 3 racks of ribs bone side up in preparation to season them. Next, I'm going to show you which seasonings that I use. Feel free to use any seasonings that you like, but these are my tried and true. Salt, garlic salt by Lawry's, pretty much the gold standard for garlic salt in my opinion. Chili powder, ground cayenne red pepper for spice, black pepper, cumin. I love chili powder, ancho chili powder, which gives it a great kick and brings out the flavor of the meat. And finally, dark brown sugar. I'll show you how I sprinkle the seasonings on. Because I've been cooking a long time, I tend to do it by sight and how spicy I want it. That is super important. And I'm going to show you how much I season. The other reason why I do the bone side up when I'm seasoning is because I season one side first and then I flip it over. And I want my ribs to go in with the meat side, the fat side up. Okay? So I season one seasoning at a time. I'll go to my next seasoning and my next, and then I'll finish with brown sugar. I'll show you what that looks like. Here is the garlic salt and pepper. I've added coarse kosher salt. I like the texture of it, and I like that it draws out the juices of the ribs. You'll see I have added the organic chili powder. I really like this seasoning a lot. It's not too spicy. It's really good. Next, I've added my ancho chili powder. Again, to me, it's not super spicy. It's just got this great flavor that brings out the flavor of the meat. Next, I've added ground cayenne red pepper. This is spicy, so you want to be careful how much you add. Our family really enjoys spicy foods, so I'm a little bit liberal with it. I added my chili powder. Again, this can have some heat and some kick to it, so just add it to your taste. My spices is organic cumin, just because I like it. I want to show you what it looks like after I've added my dark brown sugar. Now I'm going to spread it, but I wanted you to see the amount. It's really important that you consider that the taste of the ribs comes from the caramelization, and that's really important to have brown sugar. Some people also add white sugar. I do not, but you're certainly able to do that as well. The important thing is to have the juxtaposition between the spice and the sweetness, bring out the caramelization of the ribs. I'll show you what it looks like after I've spread the brown sugar. Now you can see what it looks like after I've spread the brown sugar evenly, and I've gently pressed in all the other seasonings as well. Now I'm going to flip the ribs over, and I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side. Now you can see the top of the ribs have been seasoned and spiced as well. You also probably are wondering why I didn't put all the seasonings in one bowl, mix that together, and put it on top. There's 2 schools of thought. This is just the way I prefer to do it. I like to spread each seasoning separately, one at a time. You also can see Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. It's our favorite. It's the only one I use. However, we do not put the Sweet Baby Ray's on until the very end of the cooking time, and I'll show you how that's done. You can see that my ovens, both my ovens, my top and my bottom, are set to 200 degrees. So for the next 3 to 4 hours, I will be cooking the ribs. At every 1 hour interval, I will take them out and flip them over front to back, so that they are evenly cooked. And I'll show you what that looks like too. See you in a bit. So this is what the ribs look like after their first hour of cooking at 200 degrees. I'm going to now flip them over for their second hour. So this is what the ribs look like after the second hour. You'll notice that I raised the oven temperature to 225. You'll do that for the third hour, and you may need to raise it again for the final half hour, 45 minutes. As you can see, I flipped the ribs to go into the oven for the third hour. Also, you can see there's some really great juices. You want to take those juices and spoon them over the top of the ribs. So this is what the ribs look like after their third hour. And just because I've been doing this for a really long time, I know that they need anywhere from 30 minutes up to 45, maybe another hour. It just depends. But I will pause and show you what happens every time I check and take them out. Additionally, I've also raised the temperature in the oven to 250. That's just part of cooking of the ribs. You want to start them out low, slow and low. And now the temperature has raised because now I want them to cook, and raising the temperature at this point won't hurt the ribs. So I have flipped the ribs, and I've drizzled some of the juices on them, and they'll go in for about a half an hour. I'll pull them out and check them. Again, I've raised the temperature to 250, which is fine for them because now I actually want them to quicken in their cooking. But again, we start off low and slow, and they'll be done really soon. So here are my ribs after 3.5 hours. The last half hour was at 250, and if you'll notice, I've raised the oven to 275. I'm going to cook them for one final half hour, pull them out, and we'll see how they're doing. See you in a few. Okay, so I've pulled the ribs out, and I'm now going to let them rest for a minute or two, and then I'm going to douse them with my favorite Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. And then I'm going to put them back in the oven for about 10 minutes before I put them on the grill. See you in a bit. Okay, so I have fully doused both sides of the ribs with Sweet Baby Ray's. And just so you have an idea of how much barbecue sauce I use, for the 3 racks, I do use pretty much an entire 28-ounce bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's. Now they'll go back in the oven for about 10 minutes, and then I'll put them on the grill. I'll be back in a few. So I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but I want to show you that the ribs are on the grill for about 5 or 10 minutes, depending on how you like them. And now we're going to bring them inside and plate them. So the ribs have sat for a few minutes coming off the grill, and now we're going to slice them and plate them, and I'll show you what that looks like. Be back in a minute. And because we know that presentation is everything, it's always nice to have your ribs put on a white plate so it stands out. I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial. Thank you so much.